The room smelled like roses, champagne, and power. Expensive perfume clung to the corners. Cameras flashed, glasses clinked, but all I could hear was my heartbeat. Thump, thump. His arm slid around my waist like it belonged there. Warm palm resting just above my hip, fingers pressing down slightly, not tight, but claiming. I froze. The crowd turned toward us. A spotlight blinked on. The host laughed into the mic and said, "And now we congratulate the couple of the night, Riven Thorn and his future bondmate." My smile cracked before I could stop it. I blinked. What? The words hit like cold wine poured down my spine. People clapped. Cameras aimed at me. I smiled again, bigger this time, fakely, like a trained omega. Inside, my pheromones spiked with panic, bitter, sharp. I knew they'd smell it, so I swallowed deep, tried to force my scent back down, tried to breathe like I wasn't choking. Riven leaned closer. His lips brushed my ear. "Smile, darling," he whispered. "They're watching." I did, but my fingers dug into my own wrist behind my back. 3 weeks ago, I told everyone I was unmated. Even him. I told him I didn't have a bond, that I didn't belong to anyone, that I was free. And now this stage, this announcement. His touch. My throat burned. He turned slightly toward the audience, letting them photograph us, the perfect alpha-omega pair. The future, the lot. I looked at him, really looked. He wasn't surprised, he wasn't confused. He was smiling, soft, calm, possessive, like he knew, like he always knew. My legs wobbled beneath my suit pants. My breath hitched. I tried to pull away just a little. His grip didn't tighten, but he didn't let go either. I whispered, "What are you doing?" He didn't look at me, just kept smiling at the crowd. "Fixing what you broke." My heart dropped. The lights dimmed as the next segment started. People turned their attention away, but not enough. I could still feel eyes on us. He finally let go. My skin tingled where his fingers left. My gland felt hot. I staggered to the side, pretending I needed water. Maybe I did. My throat was so dry. I rushed down a side hallway, heels clicking too fast. The scent of expensive wine and alpha hormones chased me. In the mirror, under the golden light, I looked pale. My hand reached back, trembling fingers grazing the nape of my neck. There. That spot. Faint. Almost invisible now. But I felt it. The old bond scar. The one I told myself had faded. The one I told everyone didn't exist. The one I told him I never had. But tonight it pulsed. Just once. Like a wound that remembered. I stared at myself, eyes wide, skin flushed, scent trembling. I lied. And now, he smiled like I was never allowed to forget. Behind me, the soft sound of footsteps. Slow, calm, measured. I didn't need to turn. I knew it was him. "Why?" I asked, voice too thin, too sharp. "Why announce this?" He stepped closer. I felt it before I heard him. His presence. Heavy, warm. "To remind you," he said. "Of what?" "That you're already mine." I turned, fists clenched. "That bond is gone." His eyes dipped to my neck. "Is it?" I swallowed. He came closer, just enough, just within heat radius. His scent curled into mine, like smoke slipping under a door. I tried to hold my breath. It didn't help. It never helps. "You should have asked me," I said. "You should." "I did," he said. "You lied." Silence. I took a step back. "You're making a scene." "I'm making a correction." I hated how calm he was, how certain, how my body still reacted to him, like memory lived in skin, in glands, in blood. I turned again, gripping the edge of the marble sink. My scent was all over the room now. Anxious, warm, broken. He didn't touch me, but he was close enough that I felt the edge of his breath. "It was just one night," I said. "A long time ago. It doesn't mean anything now. It means everything." He said, "You're still wearing it." My breath caught. "I told you I was unmated." "I know." "Then why?" "Because I watched you lie, and I waited for you to regret it." I closed my eyes. "I thought you forgot," I whispered. "I never forget what's mine." Something twisted in my chest. Possession. Memory. Heat. I looked up. My eyes met his. And suddenly, I wasn't sure anymore. Was I angry? Guilty? Terrified? Or just still his? No, no. I pulled my scent back, forced it flat and neutral. He smirked. Don't bother. I already know what you smell like when you want me. I hated that he was right. Stay away from me, I said. Can't, he said simply. You already said yes. You just don't remember. What? He turned, walked away slowly, like he hadn't just set fire to the last piece of ground I thought was mine. His voice echoed down the corridor. Come to the next event, or I'll bring the contract to your doorstep. Then he was gone, and I was left standing in the mirror, shaking, scared, and still, with a bond scar that wouldn't stop pulsing. I didn't go to the next event. I stayed curled up in my apartment, lights off, curtains drawn, air too still, like if I could suffocate the world, I could erase him too. But he knocked. 3 slow knocks. Not loud, not impatient, just deliberate. I didn't open. He left something outside the door. When I opened it 3 hours later, the envelope was still there, heavy, thick, my name on it in cold black ink. Inside were legal papers, old, yellowed at the edges, my name, his name, a date from years ago, my signature. It shook in my hands. I didn't remember signing anything. I didn't remember agreeing to bond, to marry, to give myself away like a pawn, but the signature was mine. I could tell. I knew my handwriting like I knew my own scent. There was a hospital seal, a clinic stamp, something about heat suppression, rut incident, protective custody. My chest felt too tight to breathe. I dropped the pages on the kitchen floor and backed away like they'd burn me. But they already did. My phone buzzed. Riven. Page 3, clause 7. Read it. I stared at the screen. My hands moved on their own. I picked up the 3rd page. Eyes scanning. Clause 7. In the event of gland trauma or suppressed rut, the signing Omega consents to the protective custody and provisional engagement to Alpha Riven Thorn, until bond is either formally severed or finalized. I sank to the floor. I didn't remember trauma. I didn't remember suppression. I didn't remember anything that could have led to this. But I remembered waking up once in a white room, cold, aching, with something missing from my neck. I thought I'd escaped. Turns out I'd just forgotten. The next day, I confronted him. I walked into his office, glass and steel, cold and sterile. Like he didn't look surprised, just glanced up from his chair, a glass of whiskey in hand. You read it? He asked. I didn't sit. You manipulated me. No, he said. I claimed what was already mine. You think this is love? I snapped. This is control. He tilted his head. Control is what your family sold you for. I protected you. By lying? I never lied, he said softly. You just forgot the truth. I hated how steady his voice was. How he could unravel my entire life with a single sentence and still sip whiskey like nothing mattered. I slammed the paper on his desk. I want out. You can't, he said. Not without a challenge. Not without a court fight. And not without revealing what your guardians did to you. I went cold. He stood, walked around the desk, came closer, too close. His scent, pinwood, smoke, cold rain wrapped around me. Not invasive, not loud, just present. Familiar in a way that made my glands sting. I stepped back. Don't. He paused. I'm not trying to hurt you. Then, what do you want? His eyes found mine. To remind you, he said. You were in heat. They tried to sell you to a stranger. I stepped in. I paid. I signed. I carried you out of there myself. My lips parted. No words came. Check your medical records. Ask the clinic. I didn't lie. I wanted to scream. I wanted to claw the memory out of my own head. But it wasn't there. Only holes. Only fear. Only his scent that still curled around my skin like smoke I couldn't wash off. I turned. I'll break the contract. He didn't follow. Just said behind me, try. But your gland remembers, and so does mine. I slammed the door behind me. That night, my gland pulsed. A dull ache at the base of my neck. Not heat. Not rut. Just something old waking up. I couldn't sleep. His words haunted me. The scent of that hospital room. The feeling of loss. Of numbness. I woke up sweating. There was another envelope under my door. A photo this time. Me, passed out, on a gurney. Hospital sheet pulled up to my chin. His coat draped over me. Riven standing beside me. Blood on his hand. Rage in his eyes. The back read, "I fought for you. Now fight for yourself." I cried. For a memory that didn't come. For a truth I didn't want. For a bond I pretended wasn't there. I thought I was free. But freedom built on a lie is just another kind of cage. I wore his ring the next day. Not because I accepted it, but because the world already believed I had. He showed up again during a press conference. Walked onto the stage beside me, arm around my waist. Again, I didn't flinch this time. But my scent betrayed me. A shiver of heat. A flicker of recognition. He whispered near my ear, "You're still mine." I whispered back, "Then why does it still hurt?" He didn't answer, just smiled for the cameras, and I smiled too, like a good omega, like a liar in love. Or maybe, like someone who was starting to remember, and that terrified me more than anything. The apartment was too big, too quiet, walls too white, air too clean. Everything smelled like him. Expensive wood polish, crisp linen, pine smoke. Something colder underneath, like frost on marble. I tried to spray scent blockers, but it didn't matter. His scent still lingered in the curtains. The sheets. My clothes. It was supposed to be pretend. Just a few weeks, he'd said. Just until the press calms down. But it never calmed down. Every day, cameras waited outside. Every evening, a new interview, a new dinner, a new lie. He touched my back gently in front of reporters. Held doors open like a perfect alpha. Even smiled sometimes. Soft and knowing, like we were already bonded. I smiled too. For the public. For my family. For survival. But at night, I stayed on the far edge of the bed. He never crossed the line. Not once. But the air between us grew thicker every night. Pheromones coiled slowly. Warm. Heavy. I could feel it in my skin. In my throat. In the way my glands started to ache even without touch. My body betrayed me first. I started reacting to his scent. Subtle at first. A tilt of my head. A breath held too long. A flush under my collar. I hated it. I hated how natural it felt. One night, we had to attend a media dinner. I wore the suit he left on my side of the closet. It fit too perfectly. Like it was tailored for me months ago. He didn't say much in the car. Just watched me. Quiet. At the table, I laughed at something the CEO's wife said. My hand brushed against his under the cloth. I froze. His fingers didn't move. But I felt the tremor. I tried to keep smiling. Wine. Laughter. Posed photos. My throat burned. When I stood to excuse myself, my heel caught. I stumbled. People gasped. But I didn't fall. Because he caught me. His hand was on my waist. Warm. Large. Steady. My chest pressed against his. Skin to skin where my shirt opened slightly. And then, my gland pulsed. Hard. Sharp. Like something struck a match inside my spine. I gasped. The world blurred. I shoved away. Breath caught in my chest. I staggered back 2 steps. He stood still. But his pupils dilated. His scent calm till now turned sharp. Bitter. Thick. Dominant. It hit me like a wall. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. Heat. Not full. Not yet. But rising. Like a wave in my bloodstream. I clutched the edge of the table. He moved. Just 1 step. And then he stopped. Jaw tight. "Don't tempt me," he said. Voice low. Rough. My heart slammed against my ribs. I didn't, but I did. I smelled like once. He came closer. Slow. Controlled. Everyone else blurred. He leaned in. Just a little. Just enough for his breath to brush my neck. His nose grazed my scent gland. I shivered. Then his lips, soft. Barely there. Right on the scar I swore didn't exist anymore. I didn't move. Didn't flinch. Didn't stop him. He pulled back an inch. "I marked you once," he said, voice almost a whisper. "Your body remembers." So did his. The silence stretched. He didn't push. Didn't bite. But the air buzzed like electricity. I looked at him. And hated how much I didn't hate the way it felt. He straightened. Walked away like nothing happened. I followed minutes later. Heart still racing. That night, I locked myself in the guest room. But I still felt him. On my neck. In my scent. In my sleep. The next morning he didn't say anything. But he left a heat suppressant on the counter. And a note. Just one line. Don't lie to your body. I tore it apart. But I didn't throw away the suppressant. I kept it. Because I wasn't sure which scared me more. The heat, or the fact that part of me wanted to feel it with him. Again, I should have known the moment the flash went off. Too close. Too long. His hand on my lower back. The way his lips brushed too near my jaw in that one posed photo. The scent trail between us too visible for trained eyes. But I smiled anyway. Laughed for the cameras like my throat wasn't closing. Like I couldn't smell my own betrayal hanging in the air. The photos leaked 2 days later. They were everywhere. Social feeds. News banners. Printed in glossy scandal columns. The captions screamed, intimate glance, secret bond, too close for pretend. His family's statement came fast. No such bond confirmed. Mr. Thorne remains focused on corporate priorities. Mine called before I could breathe. You lied to us. You're embarrassing our name. Leave him before it becomes irreversible. Irreversible. Like I hadn't already crossed every line. I didn't answer any calls after that. I shut off everything. Screens, lights, even mirrors. I couldn't bear to see my face. He didn't speak to me either. Not for hours. Until night fell and something shifted in the air. I felt it before I saw it. Heat. No rut. His rut. It hit like a pressure wave through the walls. I was brushing my teeth when I stumbled. My knees went weak. The hallway outside my room pulsed with scent, dark, primal, sharp like burning wood and rain. My body knew it before my mind could. I backed toward the window, opened it to gasp for clean air. But it was already too late. My gland throbbed. He knocked once, then opened the door before I could speak. His eyes dilated, wild, burning gold under the low light. He was trying. I could see it in his clenched fists, his rigid stance. But the rut had him, and I was the only one in range. I moved, quick, tried to push past him. But he blocked the door frame, chest rising too fast, scent exploding like thunder. Let me out. He didn't move. I said, let me. You're mine, he said, voice shaking. Always were. I froze. He stepped forward. Just one step, and I panicked. I shoved him hard. My palm hit his chest. He didn't stumble, just caught my wrist. His hand was warm, burning. I trembled. Don't, I whispered. Don't do this. He didn't speak, just bent his head. His nose brushed my neck. And then, a bite. Not deep, not sealing, but sharp, enough to sting, enough to mark, enough to tell every nerve in my body you belong to him. I broke. I collapsed in the bathroom minutes later. Door locked behind me. My legs wouldn't stop shaking. The mirror fogged from my breath, from the heat that wouldn't stop crawling up my spine. The bite throbbed like it had roots in my heart. I curled on the cold tiles. My gland ached. My chest burned. Tears came. Silent. Hot. Endless. Outside he stood. I knew he was there. I could feel his weight through the door. The silence between us louder than anything he'd ever said. I choked. You used me. No reply. Not a word. I wanted him to deny it. Or scream. Or beg. Or blame me. Anything. But he said nothing. And that was worse. Because silence didn't lie. Silence agreed. I curled tighter, clutched my shirt like it could hold my skin together. I wasn't pretending anymore. Not with my scent soaked into the towels. Not with the scar reopening like it never healed. Not with the heat pooling low in my gut, triggered by a touch I didn't ask for, but didn't. I felt something, and it was killing me. Because maybe I didn't hate being him. Maybe I was just scared I'd always. I left before dawn. No goodbye. No note. The hallway smelled like him. Like burned pine and something deeper. Something that clung to the back of my throat. I held my breath as I passed his door. My shoes in my hand. My scent scrubbed clean. Almost. But I knew he'd still find a trace. I took the earliest bus. Sat by the window. Head down. Outside the world moved in silence. Inside, my gland pulsed. I thought I had time. But halfway into the ride, the ache returned. First dull, then sharp. Heat. Too early. Too fast. I pressed my forehead to the window. Cold glass. Didn't help. The driver looked back once when I gasped. I covered my mouth, curled into myself. The scent inside the bus turned thick. Mine. Sweet, unstable. I knew people could smell it. I saw a beta couple exchange glances. My vision blurred. I got off at the next small town. Barely made it into the cheapest motel. Key shook in my hand. Room 6. The sheets were stiff. The walls smelled like bleach. I collapsed on the floor. My scent spread fast. Glands swollen, heartbeat uneven. I couldn't breathe. I tried to call someone. Anyone. My fingers didn't work. It was just me. Me and the burn under my skin. Then, the door burst open. Not knocked, not unlocked. Just broke. He stood there, chest rising. Eyes wild. Hair messy. His coat was wet. From rain? From sweat? I couldn't tell. He looked like he hadn't slept. And he said nothing. Just stepped in. I wanted to scream. To run. But my body betrayed me again. It leaned toward him. Gland throbbing louder now, sense screaming for what I hated. He moved to me. Fast. Dropped to his knees beside where I lay curled on the floor. I told them everything, he said. Voice rough. Barely holding. The contract. The rut. What your family did. I stared at him. And then I threw the motel's glass cup. It hit the wall behind him. Shattered. You ruined me. I choked. He didn't move. Didn't flinch. I never wanted to control you, he whispered. I wanted to protect you. His voice broke. Something inside me cracked too. He leaned forward. Forehead pressed to mine. No kiss. No touch. Just breath. Shared. Unsteady. I begged them not to suppress your heat that day. They did it anyway. I swallowed hard. His hand trembled as it hovered near my arm. Didn't touch. Just hovered. You woke up crying, he said. You couldn't remember the bite. You said it felt like someone stole your skin. My eyes burned. I asked them to seal the contract so no one else could claim you. Not even me. My chest ached. Then why mark me again? Because you ran, he whispered, and you were breaking. I wanted to hit him, or hold him, or disappear, but I did nothing. Just let him sit there, breathing me in like I was something sacred. I don't know what this is, I said. I do. I'm scared. So am I. His hand finally touched mine. Soft. Careful. Like he knew I could still run. Like he knew I wouldn't. And maybe that was the scariest part, that I didn't want to anymore. The room was quiet. Too quiet. His scent lingered in the air, warm, heavy, like cedar smoke after rain. I sat on the edge of the bed. My fingers curled around the thin motel sheet. I didn't know if I was shaking from heat, or from everything else. He stood across from me, silent, like the weight of everything unsaid hung between our bodies. I kept my eyes down, but his voice broke through. You don't remember, do you? I didn't answer. He stepped closer. Not touching. Just near. My gland ached again. Not with desire this time, but memory. He knelt, lower than me. I hated it. 2 years ago, he whispered, you were brought into a clinic in South District. Overheated. Unclaimed. Scared. Drugged. My fingers gripped the sheet tighter. I was there. By accident. A business deal, a wrong floor, I don't know. But I saw you. Pushed past the nurses. You couldn't speak. You were surrounded by 3 alphas. My stomach twisted. I took you, he continued. Voice low. Marked you, not to claim. Just to protect. They were going to put you in a bond auction. You were unconscious. My breath stopped. I filed false papers. Claimed provisional rights. Staged the contract. Bought you time. Thought you'd remember once you recovered. He looked up at me. But when you woke up, you didn't remember anything. My throat felt raw. So you lied. Yes. You kept lying. His hands trembled. Because if I told you the truth back then, you'd have hated me for touching you without permission. I closed my eyes. I still do. Silence. But I opened my hand. Touched the scar on the nape of my neck. It was faint. But not forgotten. Not anymore. I thought I was your pawn. I whispered. Your contract. Your property. You were never a pawn. I looked at him. His eyes, always cold before, were glassy now. Fragile. You were a choice, he said. My choice. Even when you didn't choose me back, my heart ached. My scent trembled in the air between us. Hesitant, unsure. But it didn't pull away. He leaned forward. Close. Breath brushing against my cheek. Not forcing. Just waiting. I said nothing. But I didn't move. Didn't resist. My body leaned toward him on its own. I didn't want to belong to anyone. I said, his voice cracked. Then just belong to yourself. Beside me. I looked down. My pulse thudded against my skin. I hate that you waited. I didn't know how else to love you. My hand lifted, slowly, reached his collar, pulled him close. Our foreheads touched. I let my scent wrap around him. Soft. Surrender. He shivered. I whispered, you lied to. He smiled, broken. Then we're both liars. His lips grazed my neck. I tilted. This time, I let him bite. Deeper. Forever.